News at 10.
Coming up on your weather station, the winter storm death toll continues to rise in Louisiana. What happened to one man? And President Biden offering more assistance to the state of Louisiana tonight. Why this has to do with Hurricane Laura. Plus a warning to people in Junction City as a man tries to abduct a local woman. Thanks for joining us on your weather station. I'm Christina Jensen. Another death to report on from the winter weather here in Louisiana. The Department of Health says this now brings the statewide death toll to 6. This man was from Caddo Parish. He was 61 years old and died from hypothermia. The other deaths include a 50-year-old and 74-year-old from Lafayette Parish. The 50-year-old man slipped on ice and hit his head, while the 74-year-old died from exposure. 2 others died from carbon monoxide poisoning, and the last victim slipped into a pool and drowned. Meanwhile, one energy company is preparing customers for higher gas bills because of the winter weather. Atmos Energy says bills in February and March could cost people more money. The company plans to set up payment plans where customers can pay off the bills over time. Atmos says there will be no extra fees or charges. To set up the payment plan, call the company or head to the website. And boil advisories have been lifted for several water systems, including the Greater Washita Water Company. Other advisories that have been lifted include the City of West Monroe, Town of Winsboro, Hidden Oaks, and several others. For the full list, just head to our website, myarklamis.com. Senator Bill Cassidy spoke about last week's winter storm today. He talked about the importance of the federal assistance that was approved by President Biden just last week. He says this aid will help state and local efforts. FEMA will also provide shelter for those still dealing with power and water outages. Senator Cassidy says this assistance is crucial to the state's economic health.
That assistance is essential because otherwise budgets which are limited end up getting stretched and you cannot meet other human needs. So it is how the federal government and how Congress through the federal government has appropriated dollars to allow state and local not just to respond to a disaster, but maintain other activities as well.
President Biden is also increasing federal aid for Hurricane Laura recovery. Under the new increase, local governments in the Pelican State will only have to pay 10% of the cost of cleanup, fixing public buildings, and other expenses approved by FEMA. FEMA guidelines typically make local governments pay 25%. In Arkansas, police in Junction City are searching for a man who they say tried to possibly abduct a local woman. Alicia Hayes says she was approached by a man at a store located off of the highway. She says the man followed her inside and then whispered to her several times if she wanted a job. He then asked her to meet him by his truck for more information about the position. That's when Hayes says she told workers about the man and he eventually left. This happened on Monday, but she says that she's still shaken up.
I used to walk up here like the McDonald's every day almost. Like ever since then, I haven't walked anywhere. I'd be looking over my shoulder. I don't really like even sit on the porch like no more. Cause like it's just scary.
Police say the man was driving a 2007 white Ford pickup truck. They are currently working to identify and locate him. In West Monroe, a woman has been arrested for molesting an 8-year-old girl. Melissa Dawn Eves was arrested by the Monroe Police Department. Police say they received a call about a welfare concern from the victim's mother. The 8-year-old girl later told police the suspect molested her several times. And an arrest has been made in connection to the January 4th shooting on Jason Drive that killed one woman and injured another. The Monroe Police Department says an anonymous tip was received and it led to the arrest of the man you're looking at, Patrol Walker. Walker was booked on the charges listed on your screen. And a pedestrian was killed in Monroe last night. It happened on I-20 next to exit 117. Police say Jason Fisher walked into the road right before he was hit by a car. No other details were released. And make sure to tune in tomorrow for a 30-minute special report recapping last week's storm. It will be called Reliving the Great Storm. The special will look back at our coverage and feature commentary from Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd. It will air tomorrow during the 6 p.m. newscast. It's going to replace the newscast that day. We'll also have some highlights at 10. This will be a news special you cannot miss.
And now, exclusive Storm Tracker Doppler weather from the most experienced meteorologist in the Arklamis, Jared Floyd.
Had a lot of questions in the last couple of days of, well, what are some of the observed totals and some of the final tallies of some of the ice and snow that we had last week. You'll find that in our winter weather special as well. Again, tomorrow night at 6. Look at the live Storm Tracker Doppler radar. And again, clear for the most part. Seeing some light greens, but again, probably just a little bit of light radar feedback from some cloud cover across portions of Mississippi and some very shallow moisture. But again, as this front has advanced through the area, it really doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with. So if we run into rain in the next 18 to 24 hours, most of it should be fairly light. Temperatures are starting to fall back into the upper 50s. Most of us were in the low 60s a good 20, 30 minutes ago. 65 in Natchez, 64 in Natchitoches, but again, 59 in Ruston, 58 Monroe. So temperatures starting to fall, and we'll eventually see overnight lows in the low into the 50s or maybe some spots in the upper 40s, especially if we have some clear patches here and there. But again, the clouds are on a general increase. Will continue as low-level moisture starts to pick up tomorrow. Even behind the front, start getting these deeper southwesterly winds in the low levels of the atmosphere that start that overrunning process of bringing some moisture back into the region, but also it'll get a little help from an upper level disturbance late tomorrow night. The front as it stands right now is basically right along the I-20 corridor. Winds out of the south ahead of the front, generally out of the northeast, kind of running parallel to the front behind it. And as it moves out to the south and east and stalls tomorrow, again, clouds will hang around, and as we go through the early afternoon tomorrow, still not a lot of rain, but later tomorrow night, that's when that mid-level disturbance comes in. We could see some elevated showers and thunderstorms. Elevated basically meaning that there's not a whole lot of surface-based threats. Surface-based strong damaging wind gusts or tornadoes, not going to be a big problem here, but we could see some elevated storms, basically meaning that they're on the northern side of this frontal system, and so they won't develop at the surface, but some cool air aloft could allow for some small pockets of hail, and also the possibility of some potential heavy rainfall, which will become more of a concern as we work deeper into the weekend. Again, the severe weather outlook is really a marginal risk, level 1 of 5 categories for our northwestern counties and parishes. Think Ruston to El Dorado, over to Magnolia, Camden, Farmerville, and a lot of those areas, Homer, and maybe as far east as the Crosset, Hamburg areas. But a look at Future Tracker also shows a lot of these areas, anything over the yellow coloring is about 2 inches of rainfall over the next 7 days. We could run into some 3 5-inch rain totals, 3 to 5-inch rain totals across southern Arkansas. And again, on top of saturated ground, that could be concerning in terms of flash flooding. Probably our primary hazard over the next week. Lows tonight near 50 degrees, cloudy, a few showers possible. Again, rain chances are not great. Anything that we run into should be fairly light until tomorrow night. Highs in the low 60s tomorrow, winds breezy out of the northeast. Look at the rest of the forecast over the next 7 days. And again, unsettled, probably the best way to describe it, as we look for daytime highs in most spots to top back out in the low 70s as we start the warming trend all over again this weekend. Best rain chances probably early Friday morning, and then again Sunday, Monday. Saturday looks fairly dry, but if you have outdoor plans, you may want to have some indoor alternatives just in case. And when the rain clears out early next week, we should see another brief cool down behind it.
Yeah, Saturday it's 74 possibly?
Yep, and probably even warmer than that in some spots.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Jared.
You bet.
Carlton Hart of Monroe, you are tonight's winner of our Jim Taylor Dealership's $50 gas card. That's only if you call before our newscast ends. The number is 318-807-0900. If you want to win some gasoline, register at one of the Jim Taylor dealerships. You can also register online at myarklamis.com and watch for your name every weeknight during 10 at 10 on 10. And coming up on your weather station, an interview with Shirley the Elephant's longtime caretaker.